Learn about the indie artist from the indie artist.
Well, I'm Tiana Key. I'm an artist.
Well, my name is Lauren, as you already said. I am a singer-songwriter.
So I'm Hall Pems. I originally come from the Caribbean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
My name is Brian Doucette. I'm an East Coast Canadian rocker.
And then I found myself in Las Vegas, where I'm at currently, for dancing for Cirque du Soleil with my own solo.
But also learn from music industry professionals.
I'm a music producer. I've been producing professionally for about 14 years. I have worked with a couple people in the industry, Grammy nominated Trev Rich, Nisha from 702.
After I got my deal with Universal Music, after the Alicia Keys and Gunna record and many other that I've done, and then Alicia Keys was the #1 adult R&B song of the year.
I asked the questions.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Ooh, that is a good question.
Wow. I love all these questions. These are great. Like most of the questions that I get are like, tell me about Justin Bieber. It's like...
Indie Artist Music Hustle is for the indie artists, their fans, industry professionals, and the music lover. Subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, or the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, or Blonde Intelligence Facebook page. Don't forget to add me to your playlist. Bye.
It's been really fun, especially talking to someone across the pond. That's cool.
Welcome to Blonde Intelligence. I'm your host, Miss Roni, and I always seek to give you exquisite cranial repertoire. This week, I am going to talk about a subject that was sparked by a short that I saw on YouTube. An artist by the name, and I hope I'm saying his name correctly, by the name of Kwe the Artist. It's Kwe, Kwe the Artist. And the short was talking about a show that he did within his tour. He was doing a tour, a free tour, where he would go to different cities to perform for free to organically grow his fan base. And he was saying that Charlotte should have been, I think it was Charlotte, I know it was North Carolina, I can't say Charlotte for sure, was his 11th biggest fan base. So he was expecting a certain number of people to come out, but he did have some barriers against him. It was a Thursday. It was at 5 o'clock. And it was something else. But it was during a time where, let's just say if you got off at 5 o'clock, let's say you had children or whatever, or you don't get a chance to hit the nightlife for a happy hour or whatever. But he felt that that was a barrier, and he felt kind of disheartened about the turnout. His turnout was only one person. And he said he had to think about that because that one person was a guy who had bought his album 2 times. So this guy showed that he was really a fan of Kwe the Artist by buying his fans. And what really caught my attention is he was like, I'm going to keep it real with you. He said, I could dress this up for social media. He's like, but I'm going to keep it real. And that's when he told about that he was doing a discovery tour and that he had a hard time finding a place to perform, and that when he did, he announced it or whatever, but he only had one person to show up at first. Now, towards the end, he said more people showed up, and it was one of the best shows that he ever had, and that he felt like he gained, some organic fan base. And by him showing that short, that made me go check out his music, and his music is really good. I don't want to put a genre on his music, and I haven't heard a whole lot of it because he obviously has music if one person bought 2 of his albums. So I would say that it was like a cross between It has a hip hop foundation with a touch of reggae and a touch of African hip hop, I would say, fused together. How would performers feel about showing up to their show and only have one fan there? Performing for only one person as an independent artist can be a profoundly significant experience. For a true fan, this scenario transformed the typical concert dynamic into an intimate connection between artist and listener. It underscores the essence of what being a true fan means: a deep appreciation for the artist's work, regardless of the scale of the performance. When an independent artist steps on the stage, they can carry the weight of their hard work, creativity, and passion. Performing for a single fan might seem disheartening to some, but for the dedicated supporter, it's a unique opportunity. This one-on-one interaction allows for a deeper engagement. The artist can share personal stories behind the music, creating a narrative that resonates on a more profound level than in a crowded venue. This intimate setting can foster a sense of belonging where the fan feels seen, heard, and valued. Now, I want artists to also think about independent artists performing at birthday parties, community events, um, no, I'm not going to say little, but fundraising events, um, just because. And I feel like, although it's not on a grand scale because the magic number is 50,000, you need 50,000 on social media, you need 50,000 listeners on Spotify in order for major or bigger opportunities to come along, I would say. And 50,000 is the magic number, if you can believe me or not. But I think that performing at performing with their smaller crowds still has value towards your fan base. Such a performance can lead to an unforgettable experience for both parties. For the artist, it's a chance to receive immediate and genuine feedback, allowing them to refine their craft. For the fan, it becomes a cherished memory, a story that they can tell others about a time when they had a private concert. This interaction reinforces loyalty. The fan is likely to have their experience with others, expanding the artist's reach organically. In a world of independent artistry, where every connection counts, performing for one true fan can be a powerful testament to the artist's dedication. This experience transcends traditional metrics of success. So even if you just gain 10 new fans, or 10 people who buy your merchandise, or 10 people who go and download your album, that is a success, even though it's not that 50,000. As 50 Cent said in was it Get Rich and Die Trying? He was like, I take pennies, nickels, and dimes because it all add up to be $1. So this highlights that it's not about the number of attendees, but the quality of the connection made. In essence, an independent artist's true fan base thrives on these intimate moments as they cultivate a community built on shared passion and personal connection. Now, I remember I went to a concert one time, and I know it was Jaheim, Jagged Edge, and I think it was Zap from Roger and Zap. And Jaheim came out and performed and killed it. And I think I went to see him in several more shows after that, simply because of the fact that the crowd was not big. And the barriers in that particular show was it had been raining, it was cold, it was an outside show, and a lot of people who said they were coming didn't come simply because of the weather. So It was a nice crowd. It was kind of scattered, but Jaheim came out and performed anyway and gave a great show. And Jagged Edge decided that the crowd was not big enough for Jagged Edge to come out, and they did not come and perform. And I never bought a ticket again to go see any show that had Jagged Edge on there. Now, that right there, being on a ticket, expecting a bigger crowd, it happens to the best of us. It has happened to me. But it did not take away from what I was trying to do when I didn't have as big a crowd as I thought. And, sometimes people will say that they support you and they don't. And it shows in the actions. The words never mean anything. And I take Kwe the Artist experience in that he wanted to tell the truth about it. And even in the end, the crowd wasn't the biggest, but it was one of his better shows. And I think about even when I used to go to the club, I like to dance. So when I went to the club, I like for the DJ to play good music, and I like for to have me some room that I can be able to dance the way that I like to dance. And when the club was too packed, I didn't have such a great time. Now I know that having a big a big crowd at a live show can put you on a natural high. And some people say they go into their alter egos and they do things that they didn't do in practice and it turned out great. But sometimes I would even look at how Drake is comparing his crowd to the Kendrick crowd. And I think that he shouldn't do that because even in trying times, because this would be a trying time for him, you still got people that's standing with you. Give your best to them. And they might not want to jump around. They might want to rock from side to side. And you need to read the room. And if your fan base is there to support you, give them what they want. And use that as a chance to tell them how much you thank them. And show them, because words mean nothing. But that's all that I have for you this week. Remember, you can catch Blonde Intelligence. You can still look up Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blonde Intelligence, but my tag is at Blonde Intelligence on all podcasting platforms. Please go and subscribe and follow on Spotify, on Pandora, on iHeart, on Apple, on all those places. The podcast is always on YouTube, whether I do a visual show or not. But you can subscribe on YouTube and you can get your merch and some personalized merch. Order on my website at www.blonde-intelligence.com. You can also find the services that I provide to independent music artists there. So, that's all I have for you this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey girl, let me tell you about this podcast.
Girl, everybody has a podcast these days.
But this one interviews new and interesting indie artists. It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blonde Intelligence.
Really? Where can I find it?
It's on all podcasting platforms, streams live on social media, and on rpentradio.com.
What'd you say it was called again?
It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blonde Intelligence.
Girl, I'm gonna have to check her out.
Give it a check, girl.